episode of Press Any Key Podcast. This is episode 51. As always, I am your host, Michael Schluger. With me this week is Lance John.
What's going on, people?
Shane the Moon.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year to you, too. And, of course, Aaron Murphy.
Hi, everybody.
We've got a great show for you this week. Let's just jump right in. I have some kind of bad news for everyone. Titan, not Titanfall, but Titan, which is the next big MMO that Blizzard was supposedly developing. 7 years in development, it is canceled. And I was blown away by this news, for a bunch of different reasons. Firstly, can you imagine having a game in development for 7 years and an MMO, which probably is very resource intensive, and then just canceling it, just walking away and saying, you know what, no one's ever going to see this ever. Won't ever see the light of day.
It just seems like a lot of work went down the hole on this one, and it's really unfortunate because for a very long time I've had kind of an obsession with Blizzard way back since the Warcraft days, so I've had a lot of heart with them, but unfortunately I just feel really let down on this one.
For me, it's like I'm a huge fan, or was a huge fan of World of Warcraft. I haven't really played it a lot in recent years, and I was hoping that this new MMO would kind of, blaze new territory, would you drive a resurgence in the genre, because everyone, for the most part, just kind of copies WoW's formula. And I was hoping that they would do something different, and just to hear that it's completely canceled, it's kind of sad.
It's really unfortunate. Sometimes when you're working, in any creative endeavor, sometimes you get to a point where you're working on something, and it just has gotten sort of twisted and tortured, and it's really just, you find yourself, you cannot move forward with it. And I think that's what's going on here. Just reading the article that we had, it just sounds like they had a good concept, they were working on it, and it just, the direction that they decided to go just isn't working, isn't going to work. Even with a lot of reworking, it's just they cannot continue.
At the same time, I have to say I kind of respect them for walking away. For saying, you know what, this isn't fun. And that's a direct quote from them. They actually said that we didn't find the fun. And the fact that they were able to sort of admit to it, and own up to it and say, listen, this isn't good, and walk away, that's impressive. Because a lot of games will just, be delayed, and whatever comes out is a mess.
Well, I think they take pride in what they make.
Absolutely. No question.
They don't want to release something that's crappy just for the money.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Madden.
Ooh, shots fired. No. I agree with you on that one. Yeah.
It is unfortunate because I think it would be cool, because it seemed like this was sort of a space MMO. Mm-hmm. I would really like to see more sci-fi happen.
Yeah, me too. There's a few out there that I've kind of was interested in, but
we have stuff on the horizon coming out. What was that big one with the
realistic?
Yeah. He's partnered with Oculus and
Star something. I don't know.
Is it Star Commander or something like that?
I have no idea.
That's a terrible name, so I really hope that's not what it's called.
I forgot. It's a very ambitious
game. That's fine. I can get over the bad name, but Star Commander.
Hey, wouldn't you like to feel like a Star Commander in your Oculus? No.
Star Citizen. Star Citizen.
Maybe Star Citizen. Yeah.
That sounds better.
Star Citizen. Okay.
Yes. That's the one that I think might, change things up a little bit in the industry, but we'll see. I don't want to set my hopes too high. Moving on though. In more positive news, this week we saw Valve roll out a major Steam redesign. Steam looks pretty different. What do you guys take on it? Do you like it? Do you hate it?
It's pretty.
I like it because I didn't really like Steam before.
You didn't like Steam before? I kind of liked
I did. Before. I liked it in theory, but the actual practicality of finding a game that I wanted to play that I had never heard of before, which is something that I do quite frequently, was very difficult. You had to go in there kind of knowing what you wanted to search out and buy. Now, it seems a little more friendly to say, hey, I like this game. What else would I like?
I think I'm starting to experience Steam fatigue.
Are you?
To coin a term. I mean, I don't know. I feel like this new update, it's very cool that they're doing this stuff. They have this new concept called curators, which are basically groups that recommend games to you.
Groups or individuals. It could be a singular person.
I mean,
this is not automated?
No. This
No.
is like it's exactly what it sounds like. You kind of volunteer yourself. You sign up for it and say, "I am a curator," and then people can look you up if you're famous enough. And,
yeah, like the number one is the Total Biscuit one.
Oh.
And I don't know. I think that it's very consumer oriented, and I'm bored with Steam. I don't really think that it's very interesting or very revolutionary. Like, I can look up games on my own. I appreciate the work they did, but I don't know.
Yeah, and it sounds like they want people to work for free. No, I'm not doing that.
I mean, not to derail the subject, but I think Origin has better support.
ooh,
Yeah, I know, but
Another shot fired.
I actually
That was
wouldn't
shots
disagree
fired.
with that. I wouldn't disagree with that. Even as a Steam fan, I wouldn't disagree with that.
I have very limited use with Origin, so I couldn't say whether or not, I can't argue and say, like, yeah, what are you talking about? But I guess I would have to try it out for myself.
I feel like I get a Steam update every day.
Me too. I
And
feel
I
the
just-
same way, yeah.
Well,
I don't
they're constantly updating the platform to make it super duper stable and whatnot. But the article brings up a very interesting point. 1,300 games were released on Steam in the last 9 months. That is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That is
Well,
ridiculous.
to be fair, a lot of those games are crap.
Well, exactly. They are. No question.
But there's
Wait,
those gems.
hold on.
There's those gems.
There's Defense Grid 2. I'm in love again. But yeah, there are gems, and they are just I don't know. It's a handful of I usually go through the demos if I see something pretty interesting and try it out there, which I'm very grateful that Steam has that, promptly right there, and I can just download whatever demo and play it. But there's been some demos where I got from them that it installed but wouldn't run.
Yeah.
And I and that kind of turns me off even though it's just a demo, and I know I shouldn't really judge a game too harshly on a demo, but I kind of don't care after that, and I don't want to buy it.
I just remembered something that I went into my Steam client to investigate this because I knew we were going to talk about it for the show, and it has another thing that recommends games specifically for you based on games.
That you
And-
currently have, yeah.
Yes, based on games you currently have. And one of the games that it recommended to me was DayZ, which is an early access game.
Mm-hmm.
And I really don't like that they're doing that. Like, I don't think that early access games should be given the same attention and
You
the same
can turn them
boost.
off. Did you know that?
You can?
Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool.
you absolutely can. So, and this is a tip for all you listeners out there as well. If you're on Steam, if you're in Steam, right, on the main page, okay, look at the front, the big banner. Towards the right of the banner, just a little bit below, there's a button that says Customize. You see that? See that, Shayna?
I can find it.
Ah, yeah. Take a look. So
I see it.
yeah, so if you hit Customize, it'll customize the kind of games that you can see, and you can actually click off early access products, and it won't show you any of them.
I see that. I will do that. And now I'm
See.
going to refresh my screen.
Now you like Steam a little better.
Now I like Steam a little bit more.
Now we're
There
doing,
you go.
We're doing instructional videos.
Yay.
Yeah, so you actually do have control over what you see, which is pretty cool. I think the other interesting thing for me is that every time you refresh the browser, it shows you different games that they recommend to you based on your library.
Okay.
Every time you log in, you'll see a little different. Some of the
But you
games
know what?
are the same.
I don't think it should default to have early access games on there. It should default the other direction, I think.
No, because they'd
Like,
rather
already-
show you more things than fewer things.
Well, yeah, I mean, business-wise, it's more advantageous, but I think I don't like the
morally,
early access.
morally, you don't disagree.
I don't like the early access thing in general. So
Okay.
I think that with the exception of some sort of breakout stars in the early access field, like DayZ and Rust, most of the games I feel don't do too well, actually.
No.
Like there's
That's
there's
true.
there's a lot of early access games out there you've never heard of, and I've never heard of, but they're there. And, I think the Kerbal Space Program is probably the only other breakaway early access game that
And
really
Prison
took off.
Simulator.
And yeah. So 4 versus, I'm sure there's probably like over 100 early access games. No one
Yeah,
cares
I'm sure there is.
So yeah, so I understand it being there. Unfortunately, we do need to keep it moving. Next story, I was again a bit of surprise for me. I don't know about you guys. So GameStop, obviously, I don't know if you know this or not. GameStop every year holds a conference where they gather together all the store managers from across the country, and they bring them to one place, and they talk about the future of GameStop and so forth and so on. It's like a big rally.
Oh yeah, it's like in Texas or something like that.
I think it's in Vegas, actually.
They change it every year.
Oh, they change it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they have developers there as well. Developers show off early builds of games, that kind of thing. So at this most recent gathering for the GameStop store managers, the executives started talking about potentially reselling DLC.
Huh?
And that kind of caught my attention. I was like, what?
You sure this isn't a what the fuck story? What the?
It's not a what the fuck story. This is legit. GameStop has every intention to try and build the relationships with publishers
To resell DLC.
that will allow them to resell DLC.
I feel this is kind of icky because DLCs are kind of when you download these things they're it's almost like it comes with a fingerprint of who bought them, you know. And are they going to like extract the data and like remove all this information that's in there, like, you know, remove my credit card information that I used to buy it with and stuff like that? Like what is their plan to protect other people's privacy when it comes to this? Because I'm pretty sure there's a crafty gamer out there that can like take apart something and look through the metadata and find this information. That's like that's why this
is some anti-consumer nonsense.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm getting angry just sitting here thinking about it. Like,
So to answer Lance's question, Lance, I'm guessing that they might sell a variant of a particular DLC at the store itself. You know how they sell the download cards currently at GameStop?
Okay.
Perhaps that you would come in and you would buy it through the GameStop system, right?
Oh, man.
And that you could resell instead of the DLC that you would download through the Sony store.
but is it going to devalue the DLC?
Absolutely.
What is that?
Actually, if we think about it, if
It
the
would have
DLC
to.
gets devalued, maybe then it would stop being such a focal point for so many games.
No, I'm saying if I buy used DLC, is that going to cost less than new
The
DLC?
risk-
Yeah.
Like how do you?
It's data.
It's not. Yeah, it's not tangible. I can't touch
That's
it.
an
Isn't it?
interesting point.
Yeah. Like,
I mean, we're talking about something that is. There is no limit on how much DLC that it can exist. It is data. You can make unlimited copies of it. This is stupid.
it's almost like printing money for them. This is almost like it's almost like digital inflation. Like, why would I?
Yeah.
It can't. Yes, this is very icky to me. I don't think they should do any of this stuff. It doesn't make any sense because it's just like Shana said. It's data. You can't do anything else with it besides
Well,
work
now
on these
hold
systems.
on. I'm going to play devil's advocate for a second here. The game disc is also data.
Yeah, but I can touch
You
the
can
disc.
make unlimited discs.
Yeah,
What?
that's true.
How much does it cost to have a disc? It costs a penny, maybe, like half a penny.
Right.
It's ridiculous. I mean,
But they make fewer of the discs because that makes an inflated value for having that game if it's like, you know, limited edition or whatever. But with DLC,
I don't know if I would agree with
well,
that.
that's the theory behind, you know, having, you know,
It's more about how many
edition
copies.
and things like that.
It's probably more about how many copies they expect to sell. So a game like Grand Theft Auto, they expect to sell a lot. They print up more discs than, I don't know, Conqueror's Revenge or something like that.
But they could print as many as they wanted.
Well, sure.
But the same thing goes for DLC. I think Shada's right. It's a completely useless idea to sell something that isn't a physical thing. Like, again, resell it, I guess.
Well, I know, for example, I'll give you an example. There's a market for buying Steam games on the cheap right? Because the games cost less in Russia than they do in the United States. You can hook up with a person in Russia and purchase the game from them for less than it would cost you to buy it here.
But
and they'll
those
give you the
aren't
activation.
used. You're buying basically a key.
Yes, you're buying.
It's not like the original.
But you're still
user.
buying. You're still buying the DLC key, so to speak.
Yeah, but it's not. I mean, this is implying like I have Red Dead Redemption. I buy the zombie DLC for Red Dead Redemption. I sell the DLC, and then they sell that DLC to somebody else as used.
Right.
This is just, yeah, I don't
How
know.
high
I
do you
think-
think they were at the conference?
I think. Does GameStop have any kind of digital distribution platform?
So that's a great question. Sort of. They own Congregate. If you've ever used that website, which is a bunch is Flash-based, a bunch of Flash-based games.
No,
But that's
I've
it.
heard of
It's not a bad website if you're looking to play some Flash games at work when you're really bored.
Okay.
Cough, cough.
That's a ringing endorsement.
Because I'm on their website right now. And I'm looking. I don't see any sort of. They don't mention that particular site you were talking about, or any other way to purchase DLC via their site besides actually having something shipped to you.
No, yeah, so GameStop, no, you have to buy. They sell the cards. They sell like
So it's just
cards
a little.
with the code. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And this is the other thing. If I sell back my DLC, what value is that to them? If I bought,
Apparently you get to trade it in for other DLC. Like, hey, I'm really tired of this of the Hearthstone Skyrim DLC. I want to trade it in for something else.
For the new one,
What can you get me?
but that's. I mean, it's just I'm just baffled.
This is it. I would love to. Quite honestly, I would love to see them try this
And watch them fail.
and just watch them fail.
Now, I want to read a quick quote and just hear you guys' take on this. When asked whether that implies a hope for collaborating with Steam, collaborating with Steam on the used sales model for downloaded games, Hogan, who's a GameStop exec, replied very affirmatively, "We're having that exact conversation with lots of people, with Microsoft, Sony, etc. Make no mistake, GameStop is very bullish on digital gaming. We do not see it as a threat to us. We see it as an opportunity."
Oh, he's a liar.
Oh,
I'm sorry. That is nonsense. I mean, brick and mortar stores aren't going to exist in a few decades. And that's ridiculous. Digital sales of anything absolutely destroy the brick and mortar market. How many live musicians have you seen at weddings or parties in the past 5 years?
My uncle. No. No, but that's a good point. Like, these stores are starting to become dinosaurs. I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to carve out some sort of market for themselves. But I don't think this is the right way.
You think they're just trying to put on the brave face? They're trying to seem no problem here. We're good. This is a great thing. I love this.
absolutely.
Yeah. I think they're just trying to figure out a way to move along with the tide, and it's not a very good. They're not doing a very good job.
And they're pretending to be on the consumer's side while they do it. Like, hey guys, we're going to get you a bunch of discounted resale DLC.
Yeah.
And then all the gamers are going, I don't want that.
Like,
Thanks.
I mean, yeah, I don't know.
It's going to be very interesting to see right now, obviously, it's a lot of conjecture, it's a lot of talk. It'll be interesting to see if these negotiations supposedly, bear any fruit, because I'm very curious as to, if this happens, what that will mean for the future of DLC. Because, if the deal happens, if they are able to resell DLC, that's going to change the game. That's going to change the way DLC is looked upon, I think, in the gaming industry.
Well, it sounds like they're focusing on consoles. Which I
Yes.
guess it could work on consoles. I don't know.
I would never resell my DLC or buy someone else's DLC for fear of my personal information getting out.
Yeah, I don't trust.
Well, that's why I was saying it'd probably be based on the transaction of DLC that happened in GameStop. So you would be buying the DLC from GameStop and not from the PlayStation Store.
Game companies has not been very good at hiding people's information because of, there's things like swatting. There's things like people who, they can look at these. It's pretty easy to look at people's information via game console data. So it's like I don't trust it, and I don't trust that GameStop is actually going to spend the money it's going to take to actually secure that information. If anything, they probably end up selling it to other third parties. Just to make a little extra buck here as well. So
that's one of the arguments that GameStop is making, that they have people who sign up through GameStop Rewards, which allows them to keep track of who is spending what money on which games and so forth and so on.
Yeah.
But let's not go there. We actually need to keep it moving because a lot more stories to cover. And I want to touch on this next one very, very briefly. Oculus released a new prototype, a new headset called Crescent Bay. So this is now the third iteration of the headset. They've now added headphones built into the device, because before you had to put on a separate pair of headphones. And there's not much to say except this thing looks amazing, and I just want it in my house.
And you can tell that they've progressed from just having an industrial designer to now they have an industrial designer, maybe with an arts background.
Yeah.
It looks a little sleeker, it looks a little nicer. It doesn't look like a VCR quite as much.
Yeah, they purchased the design firm a couple of months ago, actually.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I don't particularly like these headphones. Yeah, hopefully they're detachable and I could just put my own.
They are detachable. Yeah.
Okay, good. Because I hate those type of headphones. But it looks, it's pretty. It looks, the little specks on the outside, it looks like little diamonds. I'm guessing
that's for head tracking.
The head tracking? Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's for head tracking. This thing looks really, really cool. And now they have full head tracking, so you can move your head pretty much any direction.
That's really cool. Yeah.
That's so great.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that this will be the final iteration of the device, but
it probably won't be.
Yeah.
They haven't confirmed it actually, so we might see, which is crazy to me because they're still shipping out the second version of the development kit, the second iteration of the development kit, and now already there's a third one to pick up.
I think there's a very high demand for VR stuff.
I think there will be. I don't know if there's yet, but a lot of developers I think are
developers.
jumping on it.
Yes,
yeah,
not consumers.
Yeah, consumers are still lost. I would say.
Next story is actually very interesting. It comes from Sony, and basically what Sony has announced is that they're launching internet TV service later this year. I was very didn't expect this to come from Sony. What they've said is that they have signed an agreement with Viacom so that they basically can have MTV, Nickelodeon, and Comedy Central, and I believe 20 channels in total from that agreement. And they're also talking to other major network groups such as Discovery, Time Warner, and Starz. The thing I'm really curious about is, are you going to need a set-top box to access these channels? Are we talking about like some HBO Go version here, or are we full-on channel?
According to the article, they're saying that like any Sony device or PlayStation system or web-connected television should be able to do this sort of thing.
Yeah, but does that mean, like, with HBO Go, you already have to have a cable subscription, not necessarily a Google box, and you can get into HBO Go?
Right.
And I really hope it's not like that, because the moment HBO Go offers their service standalone, I will purchase it, but it is just so painful to have to do it through cable when you don't want to have cable.
Cable, yeah.
So if this is like that, I'm not on board. If it's standalone and it's, of Netflix-ish price,
right,
I might be on it, because I kind of miss having live TV.
Yeah, it's an interesting move from them. In a way, I'm not shocked because Sony has this thing called Crackle, which it's not very popular, but it's where Jerry Seinfeld has a show, what you call it, Comedians in Cabs, and that is for some reason is extremely popular, but you can only get it on Crackle, and which belongs to Sony. I feel like they've been testing out that service for a while. But I don't really like the way their service is. I hope it's not like that, and I hope they actually learn their mistakes there and fix, and if they're going to take that and implement it into whatever is going on here, it should be interesting. But
I can definitely see the cable industry getting up in arms about this.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't like their local cable provider, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't.
Comcast. God, Comcast.
And so yeah, if you weren't tethered to this anymore, and you could just only get you only need internet now, I think a lot of people would prefer that.
Mm-hmm.
Actually. So
I'm not hopeful because it's Viacom adding on, and I say that just because I have seen a lot of Viacom projects go down over the years. And I'm not ashamed, I'm a little ashamed to admit this, but the biggest one that I can think of is their takeover of Neopets.com, which is very interesting. Don't laugh. It's actually a very interesting study in how they destroyed a huge fan base of something and burned it to the ground.
Oh.
And I really don't want them to
do that to this.
Yeah, to basically stomp all over it.
This sounds like a mini cast topic to
me. Neopets? Oh, I could totally go on about Neopets for like a day.
The one thing that kind of worries me is that now we're going to have we already have competing streaming systems, but I just think these networks are going to be competing for content.
Yeah.
And that's going to stink.
Yeah, it's almost like oh look, me too. That's what
because the only reason that my family still has our stupid Comcast is because Comcast has sports.
Yes.
And I have talked to my father hey, we should just switch to online, but they don't have sports, so you're stuck. And it stinks.
Yeah, that's the only reason why I have cable television right now, because my roommate he wants sports, so I was like, damn it. But yeah,
it'd be interesting to see where this goes. We're dangerously low on time. I need to keep it moving, and of course now it's time for our favorite section, the What the Fuck stories of the week. We have two great stories for you. All right, so we're gonna do the more What the Fuck story of the week, and that involves someone you probably have heard about quite a bit if you've been following gaming news in the last couple of months. Anita Sarkeesian, and so this is the person that started sort of a very heavily watched YouTube series called Tropes versus Women, and she basically talks about how women are sexualized quite often in the gaming industry, and because of this, she's become a really polarizing figure, unfortunately, and a lot of people really, really dislike her, to the point where apparently back in March, she was supposed to receive an award at the Game Developers Choice, and someone called in a bomb threat against her. And that to me is just really, really fucked up. I don't understand why people feel threatened by this woman and her point of view, because I don't really see anything wrong with it.
I think the reason why people are threatened by Tropes versus Women is because a lot of male gamers feel like gaming is sort of their domain. So when we get this woman, this feminist, starting to call attention to maybe some issues in games, they feel like she is trying to make games not for them anymore.
I think that's absurd.
I mean, I understand that it's absurd, but that is the way it seems a lot of these people think, which stinks, because if we want games to continue as an art form, they need to be criticized. They need to go through the fire, and feminist criticism is part of criticism of art.
Any criticism. I mean, what it boils down to is it's not like this person coming out and pointing out, the certain tropes that exist in the video games. That's not going to mean the video games won't be made anymore, that those particular games won't exist. Plenty of tropes exist in television and books, and they're mocked all the time by everyone, depending on, what the subject is. That doesn't stop them from being made.
Yeah, I feel like people think she's trying to take away their games as they see it and turn it into something that they don't want, and they don't understand that it's not about trying to take away or give away anything. She's just trying to, prove a point. And that, like Shayna said, that criticism is essential for the development of the gaming community.
And I feel like when you go out there and you threaten this woman with like rape and death and bomb threats, what does that say about us as a gaming community? Like how close-minded and I don't even know, like, phobic are, like, how adverse are we to criticism, that we resort to these petty behaviors?
Because whoever this person is or persons, these are just all immature idiots that they feel a sense of entitlement for whatever reason, and it goes beyond just us being gamers. I think these are just a few men out there who are just uber threatened for whatever stupid reason when they hear the word feminist, or they see a woman that comes into this industry and is making an impact. All of a sudden, like Shayna was saying, it's like all of a sudden they feel like they're encroaching on their domain, and which is completely ridiculous, because like I said before in previous podcasts, gaming is one of the most level playing field you can have between men and women when it comes to competition or just having fun. So it's like, this makes me sad. I'm a man, and it's like, this makes everybody looks bad. This is ridiculous. Like,
exactly. It makes you a little bit ashamed almost to call yourself a gamer.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not.
Well,
but I'm a girl. But you gotta admit, these are the same guys who for years and years and years have been telling me that I'm not a real gamer, that girls are just faking gaming so that they can get a boyfriend. They're the same guys that are doing all this ridiculous crap. They're the same guys who are doing all this swatting crap to other people. Yeah. It's a small group that is making the rest of the community look bad. Exactly
right. Stop making us look bad, guys. Just grow up.
Yeah, douches.
It's really scary, because I'm somebody who works in the game industry, and I see this happen so many times where women speak up, or people who are not white or people who are gay speak up about this stuff, and it really scares me, because me, I'm fine, I can take all this stuff, but people have targeted her family.
Yeah.
It just scares me. Like, I had to have a discussion and tell my mother, Mom, someday something like this could happen to me. And it was tragic. It sucks.
Yeah.
All right, now let's talk about the good what the fuck story. Woo! Let's move away from that for a bit. Guys out there, stop being douchebags. Let's go to the last story. This is pretty awesome. So with the recent success of Goat Simulator, other people have decided to kind of jump into the same space and make games where you play as animals. So one guy decided to make a game about being a dog. Or I'm sorry, it's called and so the game's about being a dog. It's called Dog Park. Mm-hmm. And it's exactly what it sounds like. You run around the park and sniff other dogs' butts, and
I get points for it. You get points for sniffing butts.
And you play fetch.
I'm looking at the GIF here. This looks like violence.
Violence?
Because there's if you click when you're watching this or listening to this, you check our show notes, you would see two dogs running around, one dog, and then this black and white one just all of a sudden charges the brown one that's just standing there and like launches him.
Yeah,
it's very weird. But okay, sure.
I want to know how much level of control you're going to have over the dog, because as a dog owner, there are a lot of different things that dogs do that people are like, that's weird. And I want to be able to go into this online community and go up to someone else's dog avatar and just do something really strange. You want a weird amount.
You want 1-to-1 flea control optimization.
Yeah. No, what I really want is the dog eyebrow control. My dog has the best eyebrows, and I just really want to have the ability to make dog faces at other people.
Yeah.
It's just
I just
fun.
want to push that button where they do that crawl across the carpet.
Oh,
Yes.
they're dragging their butts. Yeah, I'm sure
Right.
that has to be.
Wait,
in there.
which crawl? The Q crawl where they're going paws first, or the one where they're going butt first?
Butt first.
Butt
Butt
first.
first. Yeah.
But first.
And it's just so much fun. Like, it's nice that people are experimenting and doing, like, dumb shit like this. I love it.
And
What the fuck?
right, and just as a reminder, someone out there is working on a first-person bear simulator. That is coming out. That did get funded
Oh,
on
yeah.
Kickstarter.
Wow,
So
really?
That is happening. So hopefully we'll see that soon.
I'm legitimately excited about that game, and I have a friend who's, like, really into bears, and she's really excited for that game. Like, legitimately, like, I want to experience it. It looks like fun.
And I think that's it. That's all the show we have for you this week. Definitely keep an eye out for our mini casts coming down the pipeline. We've got some good ones in store for you. Hit us up on Facebook. Hit us up on Twitter. Until then, I've been your host, Michael Schluger.
I'm Lance John.
I'm Shayna Moon.
And I'm Aaron Murphy.
Have a great week of gaming, guys. Push a hell of a lot of keys.